We are the reporters for Queer News Tonight. This evening, Mr. Florida Rubber has always been about kink and fetish. Now the contest will be known for its inclusivity.
Estonia becomes the first former Soviet member country to allow marriage equality. Shall we hope for other former Soviet countries to join the league?
Arian Childre hopes to be the first openly trans person elected to the Ohio House of Representatives, and she's running against a sponsor of a drag ban bill.
Another hypocrite in town? House Speaker Mike Johnson calls homosexual relations better than heterosexual relations, but yet continues his anti-LGBTQ plus slurs. Now let's take a close look at his college days.
They say resolutions are meant to be broken. Is that true? What do you think?
Hello and welcome to Queer News Tonight. This is the world's first and only LGBTQ plus daily evening television news, broadcasting live and available on demand on all smart televisions, including Roku, Apple TV, Android TV, Amazon Fire TV, and social platforms, including Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. It's time to queer up the news. It is Thursday, January 4th, 2024. We are live and literally out of the closet and into the headlines. So many of your important stories we are going to tell this evening on Queer News Tonight.
This is the world's first live daily LGBTQ evening news show, literally out of the closet and into the headlines on Queer News Tonight.
I'm Out South Florida senior reporter John Hayden. This evening we bring you the news of and perspective representing the LGBTQ plus community from South Florida, America, and around the world. This is the world's first only unedited LGBTQ plus evening news show. Whatever happens, unique in LGBTQ plus news, you will see it and hear it.
Hotspots Magazine, Happening Out Television Network, is a non-profit 501c3 media company in the same model of PBS and NPR, but designed for our LGBTQ community. Our mission is to support the 10 pillars of our LGBTQ plus community. We want to inform and educate the key issues of our Black community, Latino, lesbians and queer women, trans, students and youth, seniors, HIV/AIDS healthcare, business, social justice, and faith. Help us support our community.
We are part of one of the largest LGBTQ plus media companies in America, Hotspots Magazine and Happening Out Television Network.
In 2024, our magazine is celebrating 40 years of the LGBTQ plus experience, and our television, news, talk, and entertainment shows support our mission to educate the LGBTQ plus and broader community.
Well, it's Thursday. We've made it through the first week of 2024. It's all downhill from here, right? Let's begin by meeting tonight's panels, and we start with Danna Davis, hailing from Jackson, New Jersey. Danna was the great adventure in that Jersey Devil Piney Town. I'm told that's a Jersey thing. She is the co-owner of Mary It's Mary Productions. Projects include working with her partner, Candace Kane, on her new series, Candace Kane's Secret Garden, and much more. Danna is working on a new LGBTQ plus medical reality series called Doctor's Orders. It's sickening. Based right here in Wilton Manors, welcome to the show, Danna.
Thank you so much for having me, and I'm such a big fan of your show, so I really feel honored.
Well, we love having you here. Now, this is your first time on the show, so I need you to tell me your entire life story in 7 seconds or less. Start at the beginning, leave nothing out.
Well, you know, I've been a resident of Wilton Manor since 2006, so I feel really grateful. I really do. And I started writing about 3.5 years ago, and I've been partnered up with my best friend, Miss Candace Kane, and we decided to make stuff happen since nobody was giving us the opportunity to do it ourselves. So we did it ourselves.
That's awesome. We live in a time where we can be our own producers, our own content creators.
Yes.
And we're micro-broadcasting sometimes, but we make a mega influence when we do.
For sure, for sure. And we are so proud because we just launched our show Secret Garden on the Advocate channel. And each episode, there's 10 episodes, and each will drop on Friday nights.
Okay, so that would be, let me do the math, tomorrow.
And just to give you a little taste about, you know, what it's about, I'll give you the log line, and that's trans Martha Stewart meets Pee Wee Herman. Ooh. And the tagline is, good things happen when you get a little dirty.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
I love being dirty.
I know.
I'm gonna get my hoe out, and we're gonna dig a little deeper into this later in the show.
Sounds great.
I love it. Up next, Dr. Bobby Huen, a certified civil and family mediator and founder of BH Conflict Resolution Services. Originally from Hong Kong and having grown up around the world, he offers a queer global perspective on current events. Welcome back, Bobby, and Happy New Year.
Thank you. Happy New Year to you. I mean, last time I was here, it was the last show of the year, so I'm happy to be back.
Doesn't that seem like forever ago?
I know. That was way too many destroyed brain cells ago.
Oh, my gosh. Someone's been at Tap That Ash. That's cool. Up next, let's welcome Dr. Edward Summers, the Executive Director of Pride Lines, Miami's LGBTQ+ Community Center. Dr. Summers previously served as a primary physical therapist and program director at Eye Care Treatment Center in West Palm Beach. Dr. Summers was also the founder and CEO of the New York-based nonprofit The Thinkubator. Welcome, Dr. Summers.
Thank you. It's good to be back. It's good to be here 2024. So I'm looking forward to this year. Pride Lines turns actually 42 and 24. So I'm looking forward to a year of celebrating and reflecting on Pride Line's contribution to the community.
Does Pride Line's Grindr profile, though, say it's only 23?
Yes. 22, come on.
22, yeah. Silly me.
Come on, look at me.
And finally, let's welcome DJ Eric Restivo. He is a well-known podcaster for Listen Sweetie, and his work as a headliner DJ in clubs around the country, including WeHo and here in Wilton Manors. Welcome, DJ Eric.
Listen, sweetie, I can already tell it's going to be a spicy roundtable tonight. Everyone is on fire. Happy to be back.
Yeah, and what's going on this weekend? Where are you spinning?
Actually, tonight I'm spinning at Ramrod from 10 to 2, so put on your dirty bird pants and meet me for the Battle of the Bulge contest at midnight. And then Saturday, I'm double duty at Hamburger Mary's, so catch me there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Wait.
Do I have to wear pants tonight?
You don't. No. It's encouraged that you don't, actually.
and
you specifically.
And thank God,
Yeah.
because he's not wearing pants right
now.
We are the reporters for Queer News Tonight, and this evening we begin with the queer headlines. The LGBTQ+ community in South Florida and across America is diverse. Our community around the world is vast. And here are the bullet points of the queer news for Thursday, January 4th, 2024. And let's begin by queering up trans rights. Mr. Florida Rubber contest removes gender restrictions. Mr. Florida Rubber recently announced huge news that will impact the diversity of the entire LGBTQ+ community. Since hosting its inaugural contest at the Ramrod in 2009, the organization has constantly changed different aspects of the event to promote inclusiveness. That includes the introduction of a sober social, a greater focus on social spaces at parties, and collaboration with venues supporting an inclusive environment. The organization believes the announcement will take them a step closer to fostering inclusivity. Starting with this month's contest, the organization is removing the requirement of enrolling only male contestants. Everyone will be welcome to participate, and the winner will hold the title of Mr., Ms., or Mix Florida Rubber, or simply Florida Rubber Ambassador. The organization also says Mr. International Rubber will go to, or Mr. Rubber will go to the international competition where contestants compete and has implemented the same changes. Supporting these new commitments to the nonprofit has also amended the name from Mr. Florida Rubber to Florida Rubber. The final transitions for logos, websites, emails, all that boring stuff but catches our eyes, they'll be completed here in the coming weeks. In a Florida that's been America's ground zero for gender, trans, drag, and other attacks from radical conservatives, the changes are a significant LGBTQ+ community story. To learn more about the development, events, and packages, you can visit floridarubber.org. And these developments are great. Mr. Ramrod 2023,
Was trans.
or was he 2022? And the most recent Mr. Ramrod was the first trans man to hold the title.
Yeah, I know James.
Is fantastic.
James is so sweet, such a sweetheart.
Oh, he is
Yeah.
off the charts. I covered him for most of the year,
Okay.
and so when he finally passed the crown on I was like, okay, now come on over, I'll buy you some drinks, because I was like, I don't want to influence my sources, but now that he's out, I'm like, come on, let's have a couple shots. And we did, and he was great. The fact that Mr. Florida, or Florida Rubber is doing this, is just, it sends a signal about what South Florida's LGBTQ plus community is. I'm sure Governor DeSantis isn't noticing this, because he probably doesn't even know that Mr. Rubber exists. He's still busy hating on the T and the Q and the L and the G and everybody else.
Yeah.
But this is wonderful. I'm excited. I can't wait to go to the event. I was talking with Chuck, owner of Eagle Wilton Manors, and a little bit about this week. It's going to be a good event. It's always a good event, but this is going to be an important year, even if a lot of people don't see it.
It's great too. It's similar, they do different pageants, especially here in South Florida. The pageant world is massive, right? So they already have Mr. and Mrs., and they've introduced MX into the pageant world as well. So I just see it more as a win for us, to be fair, right?
I mean, the more allies, the better.
Exactly.
So it only makes sense. And in Berlin, rubber's like couture. I mean, people wear it out to dinner. It's fierce.
Oh yeah. There's a reason.
I love it.
There's a reason Mike Myers was doing sprockets on SNL back in the 80s.
And you can't really hide anything in rubber.
No, you cannot.
I'm not.
No, it's
Not that at all.
it's a very revealing outfit, and also
outfit.
it takes a lot of talcum powder.
But it does also have a spank effect too, if you think about it. But you got to really powder up. That's why you need friends.
You know what I love about this this progress that we're making is that recently we had an organization from Toronto actually reach out to us. They want to do they're coming to Miami, to do some, to the conference, and they want to volunteer. So they reached out to Pride Lines, and they have a couple of individuals who are trans, and because of what they've heard in the media, they're afraid to come here. And so I literally had to list how welcoming we are as a community. And this just adds to it, right? This level of just being so inclusive of a pageant like this adds to how inclusive we are here in South Florida. And I think around the world really thinks that we're not an inclusive community because of what they see and what the governor's done and the laws that we've had here. But I tell people all the time, no, I feel safe here, despite what you see out there. We're very welcoming.
Definitely.
And, it's still in Miami Beach. It's where our Pride Lines office is located. It's still a very welcoming place to the LGBTQ community. So I had to literally list out everything that happens here, and I definitely went to Happening Out in hotspots and just sent them all these resources because they were legitimately scared to come here.
Yeah.
They were not going to come here for this conference, this work conference,
Yeah.
and to volunteer because they were legitimately afraid. This helps us.
When I moved here from New York City, Lower East Side, trans and girls could not go into any of the boy bars, especially fetish and all that. And I went to Alibi, and there's only so many times you can hear Britney and Madonna, even though it's 50.
Okay. No. No. I'm sorry. Continue.
So I asked the bartender, I said, is there anything a little darker, a little sexier? I just moved here.
Yeah.
He's like, well, you could go to Ramrod. And well, Ramrod sounds like a real boy bar. They're not going to let trans in. And he said, no, they would. We're cool with that if you want to go and just hang out. And I went to the bar and I made friends with the bartender, and it was a great experience.
Absolutely. Yeah, Ramrod is my neighborhood bar. I literally, I live 2 blocks from it. I have often walked there and stumbled home. But you know what I'm saying?
See you tonight.
See you
tonight.
I make no comment about my frequent visits.
So, but this is a great move forward. I'll have an article about it in Out South Florida at some point over the next couple weeks. And again, if you want more information, floridarubber.org. And we'll see you there.
Definitely.
Fantastic. And next up, let's queer up the worldview. History was made as Estonia becomes the first former Soviet nation to have same-sex marriage. Same-sex couples in Estonia are now able to legally get married. The former Soviet nation's new law went into effect this week. The country's parliament voted for the change back in June, making Estonia the first Soviet-era Baltic country to allow same-sex couples to legally marry and adopt children. Kayo Sumaut, and I apologize for the pronunciation, Mr. Sumaut, project manager for the Baltic Pride Festival, feels that this decision will help the world to see that Estonia is a part of Northern Europe. For the For the LGBTQ plus community, it is a very important message from the government that says, finally, queer couples are as equal as other couples, that they are valuable and entitled to the same services and have the same options. Same-sex couples are now able to register their marriage applications. That means the first marriages will likely take place from early February. A survey published in May 2023 by the Estonian Human Rights Center showed the country's perception of LGBTQ plus people has shifted in recent years, with 53% supporting same marriage equality. Meanwhile, Russia, another ex-Soviet country, banned what it called, quotes, international LGBTQ plus movement. End quotes. This was the latest step in its years-long crackdown on gay and transgender people. Human Rights Watch says 34 countries have marriage equality currently, including all of North America and much of Western Europe. In June, Czech Republic moved a step closer to joining the list, while India and Japan have both seen controversial court rulings denying the change in the past year. And, I think we forgot to mention Thailand, which has also passed same-sex marriage with very little opposition, but the process is still ongoing. There are like 4 bills to legalize same-sex marriage, and they basically need to do the consolidation thing to merge them into one bill and then read it again, and so it should happen by next.
But it's happening. It's going to happen.
And
Been passed.
I think that's fantastic. Congratulations, Estonia. And yes, Estonia always have this. Well, I mean, the Baltic countries, Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia has always been more aspiring to be closer to the Scandinavian neighbors than to the neighbors to the east. And this is going to make some Russians very mad because Russia has been hinting that, after Ukraine, you're next. And
they haven't been hinting at it.
No,
it's a veiled threat without the veil.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Putin is all threats anyway these days.
Tell that to people of Kyiv.
Yeah, I know. And the thing is, Russia using us as a piñata is nothing new. The dictators and autocrats often use marginalized community, and these days, especially the LGBTQ plus community, in Africa, don't ask the president how long he has been he has been the dictator. So he points to the LGBTQ plus community and say, beat them instead.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is I think it's a welcome win, and it's a like a FU to Putin, basically.
Yeah.
It's particularly because it's an ex-Soviet Union nation, and so I'm excited about this, and I'm glad that they've done this, and I think that we're going to start to see even more of this, more pushback against the dictator Putin.
I think that's that's the backlash. For example, Poland, the conservative side just lost lost control of the government, and I think this is representative of what is happening in Eastern Europe, whereas people are being more and more concerned about undue Russian influence, and
That's right.
When they say undue Russian influence, we mean conservative activism. They are, so
conservative religious activism.
Yeah, conservative religious activism that edges them closer to Moscow instead of closer to Brussels. And so the people use their voice and vote and turn the tide back. But there's still a long way to go. We now have Hungary, which Viktor Orban is doing all sorts of shenanigans.
Scary
as a member,
shenanigans.
as a member of the EU, trying to veto anything that will be anti-Russia. And then, of course, the war is, and then, of course, there are legislators in this very country that we live in that are using Ukraine as a bargaining chip, because instead of helping we're supporting 2 countries at war right now. One is getting a ban check, the other one isn't. So, question.
Yeah.
Very scary stuff.
How do you work in the arts?
I do.
Writing. So much like we call it the Will and Grace effect. Now that we're 25 years into that era, how do you think the way we portray ourselves in media, the way when this is an LGBTQ plus company a show produced by LGBTQ plus, the same for you. How important is it that we are representing ourselves finally?
I think it's extremely important, and especially being trans, because for so many years there has been straight writers and producers and directors, representing trans people in a completely awful way.
Yeah.
And clueless.
Yeah.
Like completely.
And profiting.
And
Profiting
Yeah.
tremendously, right?
Yeah.
making so much money.
Right.
And that's why with me and Candace Kane, my sister, my transhuman sister, we formed Marriage Mary Production and we want to include, hopefully, when we get to a point where we're successful enough to start going out there and scouting and bringing in young people that have amazing ideas. All of us, LGBT plus ally, and that's our goal. So we can have more diversity within the LGBTQ plus community.
Yeah.
So I think we have a long way to go for all of us.
Amen.
Yeah, we really do.
We do, and it's what's critically important is we at Pride Lines work with youth, and it's important for them to see themselves,
Exactly.
see the picture themselves. They already deal with
Exactly.
enough
Yeah.
challenges
And
obstacles, and so to see themselves, they can envision
And the
themselves.
side eye,
Absolutely.
all that. They need encouragement. They need
Absolutely.
support. And that's what, we want to do.
Yeah, no, it's great.
I was just going to close it out with just saying, and ways that you can help and support. Always, maybe if there's a business that is owned by an LGBTQ plus
Yes.
couple, or a business that's owned by a trans couple or a trans person of color, always put that above any sort of Fridays or something.
Yeah.
Right.
And,
Crap like that. Use Wilton Manors as because
Exactly.
most of our bars and restaurants are owned by that. So we
Exactly.
should bring more light to the community that we have here.
Yeah, and Candace is coming on the 23rd. We're having a big party for Secret Garden on the 28th at No Manor. But we also want to do an info commercial called The Diaper Doll. Trans Guard. For the girl on the go.
Let me know if you
Even
need a
when
DJ.
she has-
Yeah, if you need a DJ.
Will I cover that story? Well,
Yeah.
it depends.
We're doing it.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll talk.
Bobby,
Yeah, bathroom.
very succinctly explored the politics of Eastern Europe, which is really what this story is about. This is Estonia saying, please pay attention to us. Look at us, please, because they know they're next. Putin has made no secret of the fact that he wants to move from Ukraine and go right back into Lithuania, Estonia, and Latvia. He said he's going to do it. There is no reason to not believe him. If someone tells you who they are, believe them. And that's who Putin is. And this is Estonia saying, yes, we are here. We are going to be on the side. They want to be aligned with Brussels and NATO. They want to be part of the EU, and they're a small country. They're about the size of this round table, but they are an incredibly important ally for not just us, but for Poland, for Denmark, for really they're a bulwark against for the rest of Europe.
Exactly.
We need to support them. Our queer brothers and sisters across the continent are under fire because there's a fascist government in Italy. There is a very strong conservative push going on right now in France. Somehow Germany remains one of the most liberal places in the world. So they've learned their lesson and they've gotten right. So yes, thank you very much to Estonia for doing this. And remember, they're the ones they're doing it themselves. They're bringing marriage equality to themselves. And remember, it's marriage equality. Our marriages are exactly the same. They are equal. They're not same-sex marriages. They're the same as straights. It is marriage equality, and we must remember that. Don't let them other us by saying, well, there's marriage and there's same-sex. Estonia is leading the way in Eastern Europe on this issue. So let's support them in equality. Marriage equality at every level. All right. And now we're going to queer up trans rights. A trans candidate is running against the sponsor of a drag ban bill in Ohio. Arian Childre hopes to be the first openly trans person elected to the Ohio House of Representatives. She's running to be the Democrat candidate against Republican State Representative Angela King. King was one of the sponsors behind the state's drag bill. The primary election is set for March, and King's term runs through the end of the year. Childry decided to run against King after she introduced a bill that would prohibit drag performers from performing anywhere that isn't designated adult entertainment facility. King and Republican Representative Josh Williams introduced the bill over the summer. Similar to Florida, the bill would expand the definition of adult cabaret performances to include performers or entertainers who exhibit a gender identity different from the performers or entertainers' gender assigned at birth. This is defined by using clothing, makeup, prosthetics, imitation genitals or breasts, or other physical markers. King said in her sponsor testimony last month that a community event with adults dancing for children was the bill's genesis. Childre said the event King referred to in her testimony was Selena's Small Town Pride. Childre also organized a protest against the drag ban bill at the Mercer County Courthouse in Salina, and King posted a statement about what happened at the march on her Facebook page. Childre did not immediately toss her hat and to run into the ring, but instead reached out to county parties to see if King would have a challenger. Once it became clear no one was going to step up, Childre decided to run. And it's a Republican district. She's probably going to lose. She may win the primary. She may get out of the primary in March, but of course the general is in November. But, the fact that she will likely not win is completely separated from the point. She's stepping up for us. She is stepping up and saying, I will speak for us. And I just wish more people would. She is brave. She is going to go through hell. She's going to have her social media ransacked with hate, trolls, and anonymous keyboard warriors. She's going to take this black wall, this black wave of ick that is coming towards her and towards us. And she's going to be one of the people on the front lines to absorb it. So thank you for what you're going to do over these next 10 months, because it's not going to be easy. We know it, and we know that you know it as well.
And can we one, she's incredibly brave. Running in a deep red district as a trans person is not easy. And including all the trolls and the things, let's not forget death threats are a thing now.
Oh, yeah.
It's a real thing now. I mean, the Colorado justices took Trump off the ballot, and suddenly they are literally having people shooting at the courthouse.
Right.
And more importantly, the law, as described by you just now, makes no sense. Because, for example, Madonna dressed in drag before. Lady Gaga famously dressed in drag. Are those now adult entertainers too? That makes the entire thing makes no sense. You either if the impetus is to ban drag performances, then you run into the First Amendment problem. I mean, you cannot just arbitrarily decide something is adult entertainment just based on the fact that you don't like them.
Right, and a federal judge has put Florida's drag ban on hold, and the Supreme Court said, we're just going to let this play out. So the fact that they didn't lift that hold says a lot about where Florida and probably Ohio's drag ban are heading. And unfortunately, you have more experience in this arena than any of the rest of us at this table. Give us a little insight what she's facing.
Well, a lot of heartache, for sure. This is a brave young trans woman making a difference for even girls younger than her. That she is a role model. She is a role model, and it's devastating to think what she's going to have to go through, but I feel like she's strong enough and she will get through it. And I really hope everybody out there that can help her, help her. That's right. Whatever you could do, whatever help is to you, help her. Please. She needs it.
Send her $10.
That's right.
Go on to her website, her campaign website. Send her $10.
Whatever you have, send her because she has a battle ahead of her. Believe me.
Even sharing, I actually looked up the population for Selena before I got here. It's like 11,000 in 2022. We could do double, triple, quadruple that on the internet with support for her and just sharing,
100%. Yes.
And it can be us versus this small little town of Ohio,
She needs us and everyone else.
Yeah.
Really.
Edward, she's
amazing.
She's putting herself on the line individually and personally, but you've worked with groups, and you know firsthand that it's hard enough for a group to say we are gay and going to support our community.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, this is on a micro level. This is on a macro level.
Yeah. No. I mean, I think it's going to be very challenging. I hope she has a good support network around her.
Yeah. And a couple of bouncers.
A couple of bouncers. But the support network is really important, and a great therapist. I'm always about therapists because going through this it can be tragic. It can be very devastating. It can be very challenging, and Bobby mentioned, what we're faced with. I mean, Judge are now faced with threats. So I could imagine in this little old town in Ohio, she could be faced with the same things. But I love the call to action. I really love our call to action here about supporting her in any way we can. Is it $1? Is it $5? Is it $10? Is it just sharing on the internet, flooding the internet?
Sure.
There are so many of us out there. I mean, if we could put our little nudies on Twitter or X or whatever, we could put stories like this out there as well. And so I'm hopeful here.
Yeah.
She has significant challenges, a huge hill to climb, but with the support of our community, we can get her through this.
She is
it's
a
the call in action.
warrior.
Yeah.
She's a trans warrior.
We have to help her.
Difference. We have to help her.
We don't deserve her. We don't deserve her, but we have her, and we're grateful that we do. And Edward, what's your Twitter handle?
I was going to say, I'm still stuck on the D's on X.
Yeah,
you have any?
Okay.
All right, let's move on. Now, let's queer up politics. Did House Speaker Mike Johnson have homosexual relationships in college? Perhaps he has a Twitter. U.S. House Speaker Mike Johnson recently said that he did extensive studies of homosexual relationships in college. His statements immediately created an avalanche of jokes and memes about what he actually did in his experimental days in college. He mentioned his studies clearly showing that although homosexual relationships are more satisfying than heterosexual relationships, they are bad. In early November 2023, a meme attributing a statement to the U.S. Representative Mike Johnson went viral on multiple social media platforms. The alleged quote, which could be read as Johnson had participated in homosexual relationships in college, conveyed that Johnson's opposition to gay marriage was due to its being such a fun lifestyle. His statements were unearthed by CNN's K-File following Johnson's election to Speaker of the House. When he made these statements, Johnson was a lawyer for the Conservative Alliance Defense Fund, which fought to block the passage of gay marriage equality. The actual quote compared homosexuals to pedophiles and other deviant groups. But that is not what is bothering us the most. LGBTQ plus activists point out clear contradictions. They point out the fact that House Speaker Mike Johnson closely collaborated with a group in the mid to late 2000s that promoted conversion therapy. He gave legal advice to an organization called Exodus International and partnered with the group to put on an annual anti-gay event aimed at teens, but in reality believed that homosexual relationships are more satisfying. They are more satisfying. Period. Thanks, Mike Johnson.
I think we all did a little bit of experimental.
I got my undergrad and a master's. That would be Master Mike in homosexual relationship research.
Oh boy!
But the thing is, I mean, well, first of all, I want to say that I'm not supportive of the trope that all homophobes are secretly gay.
That's ridiculous.
That's a ridiculous trope. As much as many politicians turns out they're them. But the thing is, I'm also like, how does he come to the conclusion that, okay, so gay relationships are more satisfying than straight relationships, but that's bad? How does he come to that conclusion?
Well, it's like all Republican fascists. They say, oh yeah, that's more fun, so we're going to be absolutely against it.
Yeah. I would love to look at his research design, not to be a geek here, but I would love to just see how he actually conducted his study and what did he actually do
Plot twist, there's none.
Come to the conclusion that they're more satisfying. Like, how did you know?
No,
Did
and
you
also-
actually do a field study? Did you do an ethnography?
And-
like, I would just love to know a little bit
and
more.
also like what is the sample and like how does he go around to like find these people? And also remember he is not that young, so his the college days was basically like at
80s.
least in the 80s.
The 80s or
back
90s.
when the peak of the AIDS crisis. Like how do they find homosexual relationships more satisfying?
And let's remember, the crux of this story is the hypocrisy. If he hooked up with a guy in college, I don't care. Trust me, I don't want to see the video, but I don't care.
Right.
It's the hypocrisy at every single level of the Republican fascists. They want to take free speech for me, but not for thee.
Right.
Right?
Right. It's a hot mess all in general, to be fair, but he does kind of give me the vibe of like a hole's a hole, and he'll just do whatever. So sorry to go there, everyone. You were all thinking it at home, to be fair. Look at his, did we see the posters that were up on the screen? I think he's disgusting and I never want to talk about him again.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ditto.
You know, right?
Okay.
Fair enough.
Before we move on, I just want to circle back to a point that was made in the story that the Alliance Defending Freedom or Christian group Exodus, whatever it was, the every summer event aimed at teens to be anti-gay. Imagine if we held a pro-gay come explore homosexuality event every single summer. We laugh because the idea is ridiculous,
Crazy.
but this actually happened. This is something that they did. They said, okay, kids, come together. I'm going to tell you why, sodomy sucks or whatever it
Right.
was that they said. It's the hypocrisy, number one, and it's number two, the fact that they targeted teens. It's the entire Trump era of the Republican platform has been, I know you are, but what am I?
That goes way back though. Remember the National Coming Out Day and the National Day of Silence. So in school, gay kids stay silent, basically to signify that they're being bullied.
Yeah.
Yes.
AFA, American Family Association, or one of the evangelical groups decided that on the same day, they're going to have homophobic teens to basically show up and basically yell at these gay teens with their Bibles,
So they would,
you're having,
right.
Yeah.
Essentially, it's basically, let's bully them.
Right.
We are not going to speak. They are not going to speaking. They're not speaking, so let's go bully them instead.
Absolutely.
I mean, this playbook has been played for now 4 decades now, as long as these groups,
At least.
And once these groups gained political ascendancy, they basically just hammered that, anti-gay rhetoric. To the core.
The one last comment I'll make about this story is that Mike Johnson supported conversion therapy, and he's one of the biggest believers of do no harm to children, right, or younger individuals, and yet conversion therapy, time after time, have been proven to be harmful to individuals.
Selective picking of
So
evidence.
it's just terrible. It's very hypocritical. Apropos of the story.
And Exodus is a whole black hole that you go down if you even type it anywhere
Yeah,
near
listen.
your Google search.
Yeah, don't go down
that hole.
the hole. Go down.
well,
That hole.
Exodus
My
is
ex
gone
was a
now.
part of Exodus. Oh my God. And
Right.
He was with me afterwards, right? Come on.
Jesus.
Terrible.
Horrifying.
All right, throwing in the towel for that one. All right, let's queer up gay culture. It's the first days of 2024. Have you broken your New Year's resolution already? The new year often makes people want to be a better version of themselves. According to YouGov poll, nearly 4 in 10 LGBTQ plus Americans had a mountain of resolutions while watching Anderson Cooper and Andy Cohen New Year's Eve. Lifetime Senior General Manager Julie Brown said many of their fitness classes were packed on New Year. A new survey from Forbes Health found the top resolutions for 2024 include improving fitness, finances, and mental health. That's all the good news for the queer America. The bad news is unless you have a great plan, resolutions often fail. Studies show resolution success ends on average at 32 days into the new year for 2 out of the 3 of us. Perhaps it is not surprising that those studies show 1 out of the 3 of us don't survive our resolution through the first week. So we ask, where are you? Regardless, here are the experts' top recommendations to most of us who will give up our resolutions. First, ask yourself if you really wanted the goal in the first place. Second, resolution failure is not defined at midnight New Year's Eve. Make a new, perhaps exactly the same resolution today. Start over. Third, ask a friend to join you on the resolution. Success rates triple when you do the resolution with a friend or family member. And perhaps most important, stop shaming yourself and others. What was your resolution? How long can you sustain it? Have you broken it already? Pick yourself up and let's start again. All right, round table. Who already broke their New Year's resolution? Anyone?
I didn't make any.
There you go.
But I did say that my friend and I jokingly say that we'll do dry January. That lasted about 5 hours.
I was going to say, did you make it past 5 minutes past midnight?
No.
There you go.
Dry January is tough. I also I love the point that was made in the story as well when start anew, right? Like, so it doesn't end at New Year's Eve. It doesn't have a start time and end time to your resolution. You can make the exact same resolution that you did yesterday, today. There's no stress and pressure in it when you're just battling with yourself. So just do it every day. Make yourself better. Every day of the week.
I think easier said than done.
Yes, of course.
Oh, yeah.
But the pressure of holding yourself of like, okay, perhaps dry January, I'm not going to drink for 30 days this whole month, and then getting angry at yourself if you do have one slip up because, hey, you're human, you know, that's no fun either.
Girl, there's 31 days in January.
Oh, 31.
I was going to jump on dry January, but I'm over anyway. So, like, that's an easy one for me.
Oh, yeah. That's not allowed for you.
I know. It's pretty easy for me. But no, for me, it's more balance. Like, as a therapist, I know all too well it's important to have balance in your life and to have healthy coping mechanism and just and so for me, I want to return back to the beach. I haven't been able to do it yet because the weather's not been all that great, but that's one that I'm going to try to stay committed to.
You know, that is such a Floridian comment, because right now I can tell you every single one of my friends in Chicago, Minneapolis, and West Michigan would be in the pool right now. My pool is like 68 degrees. They would be jumping in and thrilled with this weather right now.
And the crazy thing is I'm from New York, right? So like I should not be saying that, but it's too cold for me. I've become a Floridian. So.
And one thing, and I know you'll agree with this, is that we talked about is the focus is on mental health. A lot of people are resolving to it. And a lot of times it's easy to say on January 1st, July 1st, it doesn't matter. To say, I'm going to do it. It's another thing to take that first step. What would you say to people who are having, would you recommend them trying to do online as a sort of an easier thing, or is face-to-face better to get started with?
It depends. I mean, it just depends on your schedule. It depends on where you're at in your life. Whatever feels comfortable to you, I think, is really, really important. It's always easier face-to-face. As a therapist, I like to see people. I hate online. I'm one who, once, COVID was over, let's do therapy in person. Let's get back to face-to-face. I think there's something to be said for that human interaction, that human connection that you can't make up online. And it makes it a little bit more easier for people.
And what is your couch like?
Ooh, very comfy. Broken in. Very broken in. Very worn.
I
had to get a new one.
My resolution, I made two. One was to continue cocktailing and have more sex. And I'm one of the 1 in 3 that are still keeping their resolutions. Yes.
Amen.
Yeah.
It's healthy.
It is healthy. Next, we are proud of our special partnership with Sunshine Cathedral, the world's largest queer church here in Fort Lauderdale. Supporting that partnership, we are broadcasting from our permanent set here at Sunshine Cathedral at the Happening Out television studios. We broadcast Sunshine Cathedral's Sunday International Service at 10:30 a.m.
Well, we finished tonight's queer news headlines with a segment we call LGBTQ plus 1 Minute News.
LGBTQ plus 1 Minute News. Let's queer up students and youth culture. Historic Sunshine Pride House opens for crisis LGBTQ youth housing. The Sunshine Pride House has opened its doors this week to provide shelter, counseling, education, and lifestyle to young adults who have been cast out by their families after revealing their sexual orientation. This is a historic first in Florida. According to Covenant House Survey, LGBTQ plus youth makes up an astounding 40% of all young people who are unhoused in the United States. In an inspiring display of collaborative support and solidarity, the Sunshine Cathedral, SunServe, and the Flight Center, three highly respected nonprofit organizations that have joined individual donors like Terry Merlin and Michael Kelp, and the Our Fund Foundation in their efforts to make the Sunshine Pride House a reality. It is a 6-bedroom, 4-bathroom, 2,800 square foot duplex in Fort Lauderdale that can house up to 12 LGBTQ plus young adults, a step in the right direction for addressing a critical issue. The first LGBTQ plus youth were housed at Sunshine Pride House for the first time this week.
LGBTQ plus 1 Minute News. Let's queer up entertainment. Duo Formosa, featuring Catherine Lan and Huifang Chen, comes to Sunshine Cathedral Center for the Performing Arts January 6th. This is a nonprofit experience that you can have and is leading America's LGBTQ plus live entertainment series. The event will feature the talented Catherine Lan as concert pianist and dynamic and diverse musician Huifang Chen as violinist. The show starts at 8. Duo Formosa presents a diverse body of repertoires that include chamber works for the duo, solo selection, as well as compositions from Formosa. Tickets and more details are available at sunshinecathedral.org.
LGBTQ plus 1 Minute News. Let's queer up entertainment. Plays of Wilton, 10 Naked Men come to the Foundry through February 10th. 10 Naked Men is inspired by Ronnie Larson's personal experiences while living in Southern California and is another Larson take on the intersecting world of entertainment and sex. The play had a 6-month run off-Broadway as well as sold-out runs in San Francisco, Los Angeles, Boston, Philadelphia, and Detroit. And now it is ready to tickle our bones as it comes to the Foundry in Wilton Manors. Set in Hollywood, California, 10 Naked Men focuses on 10 individuals, 3 hustlers, 2 producers, 2 agents, 1 banker, a single photographer, and a lone actor. Sex and business are all tangled up in a world where everyone is selling themselves. And yes, they all get naked. This is an adult-only show and runs from January 12th through February 10th. Plays of Wilton is part of the emerging LGBTQ plus entertainment district of galleries, theaters, and entertainment on Dixie Highway near Wilton Drive. Get tickets and more details on ronnielarson.com.
LGBTQ plus 1 Minute News. Let's queer up South Florida and Florida. Bears of South Florida are bowling with the Bears January 27th. Here comes the first Bowling with the Bears fundraiser of the year. The Bears of South Florida invites you to the Sports Den Pub on January 27th for games, shoes, pizza, wings, and soda. Whether you're a good or not so good bowler, you'll have a great time at what has become a popular event for the club. Trophies will be awarded too. Tickets are $35 per person. The organizers are aiming to sign up 100 Bears and break the record. Bowling starts at 6 p.m. Non-bowlers can also join the fundraiser to cheer for fellow Bears while enjoying food and soda for $15. Bears of South Florida is one of America's largest social bear organizations and raises thousands of dollars for LGBTQ plus nonprofit causes in South Florida. Further details and tickets are available on bosfl.org.
Well, finally, we queer up entertainment. Danna Davis, trans co-owner of It's Mary Productions, announces Fort Lauderdale reality show. Danna Davis and Candace Kane have a new show called Candace Kane's Secret Garden, currently streaming on the Advocate channel. Also exciting is a new series she's got in the works, Doctor's Orders. It's sickening. It's really awesome. Great news. The reality show is based right here in Wilton Manors and Fort Lauderdale with some of our favorite LGBTQ plus heroes.
I have a secret. And I finally decided to tell you all about it.
Good morning, Candace.
You were having a party last night, weren't you?
Welcome to Candace Kane's secret garden.
Good morning, Candace. I'm here and I'm all yours.
You heard that right. Each week I'm going to be visiting a new friend to help them create their own secret garden and help you a little bit too at home.
Candace!
Bruce Valanche!
Candace Kane, are you here for the pickleball tournament? Excuse me.
Rain had told me that she wanted some shade from the sun, and so along one side I planted hedges, which are going to grow eventually up, and then I decided to go with the little purple section with her plums that she had here. What a fantastic way to start my birthday. So today I'm going to do a fabulous little cocktail called the Buzzy Bee. This is really so easy to do at home. Let me show you. I could do this all day.
You're talking greenhouse, right, Mary?
What else would I be talking about, succulent? See, anything's possible in the secret garden. Together, we can discover what can grow with the proper nourishment and a little bit of magic.
We'll be in the trees.
Don't forget, good things happen when you get a little dirty.
And of course, Danna's been here the whole show, sitting next to me.
Yes, I have.
We've first time meeting. I feel like I've been gypped for the first 51 and a half years of my life. I'm so glad to have met you today. And this trailer, oh my God, it gives me little chills up and down my spine and other places as well.
Great.
How did you come up with this?
Well, we wanted to do kind of a hybrid, so we definitely wanted to do a reality because Candace is such a great gardener. Mm-hmm. So we thought, well, a gardening show. But then, we wanted some scripts, and we thought, let's put some magical creatures in our backyard. Mm-hmm. So that went over really well. And then once we came out with Mustafa, the magical merman, in the pool that lives there, the rest of the characters just flew right out of us.
How? Like, I look at that and I go, I'm going to need a few of my special chocolate fudge balls before I can start thinking at that level.
Well, Candace is a gardener, so she, of course, needs an assistant. And, so I think his name, should be Mr. Hammer. And so, yeah, Mr. Hammer's great.
Mr. Hammer is not a member of Mensa, though. I've been told.
He's not the brightest bulb in the garden, but he makes up for it in different areas.
Now, I have to know a little bit more about the merman, his text, and his eating routine.
He eats a lot of different creatures from the sea. And Candace loves to swim, so.
Now, if you could take Candace doesn't count. If you could take one of those characters on a road trip from Florida to LA, who could you spend 3 days in a car with?
That's a long time for anyone in a car. But, Succulent is our tree nymph, and he lives in the orange tree, and, he's quite sassy, and he's kind of the daughter that Candace never wanted. And, well, he's really entertaining, and we did bond. And, in fact, when we got to sit down and cast the show, we were drinking wine, of course, and it was so much fun seeing the auditions, and wow, some of those actors are bad. They're really bad. But then Succulent popped up, and his real name is Goulet, and he's just fantastic. And we said, ooh, that's Succulent. So I'd probably have to say I would take Succulent.
Okay. How long did auditions run?
No, we were really good. They sent us casting, it was during COVID, they sent us casting videos, and we casted it in like 2 days, I think.
Oh, wow.
We were on it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and Mustafa was he's just so cute and such a tummy. And what a shiny tail he has.
It's very.
We kind of started calling
tail.
him Shiny Heiny.
Oh my God, I just love that.
Yeah, Candace is so good in it, and it's such a great project. It's so much fun. You know, it's all about humanity and humor, and, you know, it's bringing back some just, you know, lighthearted fun that we can all smile at and be entertained by.
Well, why Candace?
Well, Candace is, you know, she's my best friend in the world. So, you know, creating this project together with her was just dynamite. It was magic. It was so much fun. And we are such good writing partners, whoever knew. But she really is the good girl next door. And, well, I'm not. So we probably, you know, makes us work really well. And we've been writing a few different things. We wrote a screenplay called Chaser, and it's about a trans amorous man. And we don't know much about them. You know, they're like unicorns in the world. They're unicorns because they don't identify gay and they identify straight, but they also like trans women. So they're a bit of a mystery. So me and Candace said, you know, why don't we write a script about a trans amorous man, starting from like him being a teenager and growing up. So we did that, and it came out really well. And an amazing producer, Jacqueline Moore, she did Queer as Folk and some other shows. She read the script, and she's on board with us now. So she's really excited about the project. So we are so excited. And, you know, I told Candace that I think I'm going to talk to some men that I have dated in the past about, you know, how they feel about being trans amorous. And Candace said, good luck. And, you know, you know, they don't want to talk about it.
Really?
No, they don't want it. There's very few men that are attracted and want to be with a trans lady that admit it. Unfortunately, it's true. Well, you know this, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So what's the message? Obviously, the message. One of the messages. Well, let's have a lot of fun with a merman, but there's also more to it.
No, the message is, you know, sharing amazing ideas with people and teaching them actually how to garden and get into the earth and touch it and feel it and see what they can grow.
Does it get a little dirty?
It does get a little dirty, and Candace, she's a great gardener. Yeah.
Well, good news for our LA viewers, bad news for our Wilton Manors viewers. The merman is a Southern California resident, so don't be looking for his shiny little tiny flopping up and down Wilton Drive. However, your new show is going to be going to be, or are you already in production?
No, we're not in production yet. Okay. We're still looking for a little more coin, a little more shekel.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not in production, but we're really excited about it. How that worked is that when I sent it to a friend of Candace's and mine, Andrea Matt, she's a big showrunner producer, she said, you know, I read the script on it, but it's all fictional. Why don't you go out in Wilton and try to cast it? So cast the doctors. And I said, how am I going to do that? And so I said, well, I'll start with my dentist, Dr. Constable at Boca Dental on Wilton Drive. And he has a great staff. They're very entertaining, to say the least. And, you know, they have a lot of eyebrow raising, they're fierce. And so Dr. Constable said, oh, I would love to do it. Just talk to my secretary. And I said, really? And he's like, yeah. And then I was trying to find a trainer, and it was so difficult because, I'm sorry, but most of the franchise gyms, like, I'm not really seeing brilliance.
Yeah.
So I drove past G21 Fitness on Dixie Highway right by Oakland Park.
Okay.
And I called them, and Renato Silver agreed to come over, and I showed them the project, and he said, I would love to do it. And then he said, who else do you need? I said, I need dermatologists. I need a general practitioner. And he said, oh, I know everyone in town. I train them all. So he hooked me up with the rest of the cast members.
Sometimes it just comes together.
It just flowed so together. And then they kind of all know each other in a way too. So, but I want to feature the health heroes here. I definitely want to feature Wilton Manors because I'm so grateful for being resident since 2006. I feel like I need to give back, you know, because I love it here and I never want to live anywhere else. I want to travel the world, but as always, I do. But I always want this to be my home.
Okay, so what are we going to see?
When are we going to see it?
What? What is going to happen?
Well, you know.
Girl, spill the tea and bring the drama.
Spill the tea. Okay, well, you know, Well, Z-Rock Dermatology is amazing, and Dr. Connie Wong Kitty Rock is doing some cancer removal. And then Dr. Zaraga, her partner, he actually does penis enhancement. And it's basically filler. And I think that it's about time a girl can tell a guy to go get bigger, like a guy tells a girl for her implants. So that's really fun, and I can't wait to film that. I cannot wait to film that.
I don't know if I can do my set visit that day. I get a little squeamish.
He does a lot of porn stars as well,
Yeah.
and he has a big clientele. It's a popular modern service for men, and I love it. Go on, guys. Go get your penis filler.
All right. All right. Let's bring in the rest on penis filler. Let's bring in the rest of the panel, guys.
You choose that moment. You choose penis filler as.
But I heard penis filler and I thought, oh, we need to hear from Bobby. What's going on?
Well, I'm certainly going to enjoy that episode, and
so.
yeah,
I think
I mean,
so.
if you ever need like a couples therapist, let
Okay.
me know that too.
Definitely.
For me, it's the representation too, right? It's like we don't see any of that, especially penis filler.
true.
You need it everywhere.
It's so modern. I love that. I'm like, go, guys, do your thing.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
And
great.
you're featuring Wilton, which is great. It's
I-
a place that you call home, that you love.
I love it so much, and I want to feature Wilton. It's a fabulous place. It really is, and it's my home, and I and the people in it I love so much. Everyone, the restaurants and the shops, and it's how many people can say they can just feel
Just walk right out, right on the drive.
Feel at home. Feel
It's
safe.
so magical.
And just feel
really safe.
Just comfortable in your own skin.
So many amazing people. Mo at Sozo and the guys at Decades and Ramrod and it's just fantastic.
What makes a health hero?
I think a person really catering to part of society and population that usually gets turned away.
Okay.
And I think that's a health hero, but they are really dynamic. They all the doctors on the show have a nonprofit organization. Like Renato has a nonprofit in Haiti where him and his partner go and educate young LGBTQ plus youth. And so does Dr. Zaraga and Dr. Connie Wong Kitty Rock. They have an organization in Thailand. And that to me is definitely a health hero. Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
All right. So that is TBD. But I'm going to do a set visit, perhaps not on Penis Day.
Penis Day. Come on, John.
Perhaps not that day, but well, hopefully
You need a footage.
get a footage. Hopefully we'll be having you back to talk about the debut of that later this year. It's only January 4th.
And,
We've
and
got some
I would time. love for you to meet the doctors. So that could be a very interesting segment. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I
sure.
absolutely intend to do that.
Yeah, definitely.
Ask anybody
The cast.
in my last 15 years. I love set visits.
Yeah.
They're so
Yes.
very much fun. And then your show with Candace
Yes,
is
Secret
new
Garden.
episodes are dropping Fridays.
Fridays, yes. And that is on the Advocate channel every Friday. And we're so excited about it. It's just really wonderful. Me and Candace feel very fortunate that this is actually happening.
And she's going to be coming to town.
She's coming to town to promote Secret Garden, and we're going to have a party at No Manor, the poshest, sexiest new place in town.
Is she bringing Mustafa?
I want Mustafa to come.
Oh, we want him to come too.
I think we could each collectively kick in 10,000 miles.
Yeah.
And tickets.
Tell him you have a DJ already, too.
We do.
Yeah.
So you hear that? We have a DJ.
Hey, happy to help.
Yes. So, yeah, for sure. I like that idea.
Well, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you so
for
much.
joining us for the whole show. Congratulations.
Thank
You're,
you.
no
Thanks
you're no
for
longer
having
you're no
me.
longer a queer virgin.
I feel great. Wow.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Well, that is today's news for the LGBTQ plus community on the world's first and only daily LGBTQ plus evening news show.
If our community is important to you, share this news with your friends and family. Are you, like most of America, part of our very large television audience watching this live LGBTQ plus news broadcast right now on Roku, Apple TV, Android TV, and Amazon Fire TV?
Queer News Tonight is the only live LGBTQ plus digital television show in the world that's out of the closet and into the headlines, and we need your support. If our community is to grow, we must tell our stories and bring them to the attention of the broader world.
This is the only place in the world that tells these types of LGBTQ plus stories in motion and sound. That is the passion of Hotspots Magazine, Happening Out Television Network, and Queer News Tonight.
I'm John Hayden, and on behalf of these LGBTQ plus reporters, the very fun anchors of Queer News Tonight, including Danna Davis, Dr. Bobby Huen, Dr. Edward Summers, and DJ Eric. We will see you daily at 8 p.m. And to our LGBTQ plus world, we wish you a very good night.
Good night.